Welcome to Full Time Hockey. This is our first ever episode, which is taking place on the eve of the 2023 Stanley Cup Playoffs. And for our first ever episode, we're going to do our bracket challenge for the 2023 playoffs. Okay, let's jump to our first matchup. So our first matchup brings us to the Pacific Division between the Edmonton Oilers and the Los Angeles Kings. The Oilers finished with 109 points in second place in the Pacific, and the Kings finished with 104 points for third place in the Pacific. In the regular season, they faced each other 4 times in total, with each winning 2. So LA wins first 2, and then Edmonton wins the second 2. Injury-wise, Edmonton has their full lineup intact. It's just Mike Smith and Oscar Klefbom, which has been on long-time injured reserve. So it doesn't really matter. But on the LA side, Kevin Fiala, Gabe Vilardi, and also Alex Edler are out. This series will be a rematch from last year as they face each other in the playoffs of the first round. That went to 7 games, with Edmonton coming up on top. Now this year, both teams have vastly improved. As LA, they got Drew Doughty back, and they're playing a sound defensive game, and may prove to be tough to play against. The Oilers, on the other hand, they got Matthias Ekholm at the trade deadline, which has greatly improved their blue line, and they seem to be an unstoppable team in the last 15 games. Or the last 10 games, they're 9-0-1. In the last 15, they're 14-0-1. So they are on a hot streak, whereas LA has been cooling down a bit. So with the Oilers' superstar power, as McDavid has been having a historic season with 153 points, his next teammate in line is Draisaitl with 128 points, and then Nugent Hopkins with 104 points. 3 guys with over 100 points, and the next guy up, Hyman, at 82 points. Crazy. I've got to give the edge to Oilers, and they will win the series in 6. Our next matchup is still in the Central Division between the 2 green teams. So this is the green series, as they call it. And the season series between the 2 have been split 2-2. And both these teams are basically quite similar. Dallas finished second in the Central with 108 points, and Minnesota finished third, 103 points. Injury-wise, Dallas has their full lineup, nobody on the sidelines, whereas Minnesota has Oscar Sundqvist, Joel Eriksson-Ek, and Marcus Johansson. They're all out. When they're returning, no news. We'll keep you updated, and we'll see if they come back to the series. The power plays, one's at 25%, the other's at 21.4%. That's for the Wild. And then the PK, Dallas is at 83.5%, whereas Minnesota's at 82%. So those stats are quite similar as well. But if you look at the last 10 game streak, it's for the Stars, it's been 8-2-0, where it's been 5-3-2 for the Wild. So the Stars have the slight edge. That's why I'm going to give this series to the Stars. And the Stars will win in 7. Okay, now we go to the Eastern Conference, with the Boston Bruins facing the Florida Panthers. Now the Bruins have had an amazing and historic season, breaching the 135-point mark for the team. Wow, 65 wins over one season. They've broken a huge record, and they are seemingly to be the favorites to win the Cup too. Well, in this matchup, they have gone 2-2 against the Panthers in the regular season, each winning 2 games. But I think the edge will always go to the stronger team, which is Boston Bruins, as they've gone 9-1-0 in the last 10 games. And they're just on a hot tear. Injury-wise or sideline-wise, our goalie Linus Allmark and also Patrice Bergeron are seemingly to have the bug. They're sick. I'm not sure if they'll be back for the first game of the opening series. So that will be day to day, and it will be announced when the game starts if they'll be participating in the game one. For Panthers, the Panthers are short of Hornquist and Sam Bennett, as they're both on IR and won't be in the series at the moment. Experience-wise, Boston also has the edge, as this is only the second playoff appearance for Florida in the recent years. Last year, they didn't do too well against Tampa. They got swept after being the President's Trophy winners of the last year's season with the highest points. They didn't get too far, and this year they just barely made it into the playoffs as they're the second wildcard team, playing against the top team in the whole entire NHL, the Boston Bruins. So I've got to say the Bruins will take this in 5. Should not be any problems for Boston unless it's some weird upset, which should not happen. And we'll see Boston move on. Okay, now we're at the final matchup we're going to talk about today, which is the Carolina Hurricanes versus the New York Islanders. Hurricanes finished first in the Metro versus the Islanders finishing 4th and with the second wild card spot. So Hurricanes at 113 points over the season versus Islanders at 93, which is a 20-point difference. In the season series, Carolina has won 3, where New York has won 1 out of the 4 meetings. So the edge clearly here goes to Carolina, and Carolina seems to be the stronger team with a better lineup. They've got some offensive firepower, whereas New York Islanders seem to be the more defensive expert. Perhaps they can play the trap game, and maybe Carolina might fall into it. I'm not sure, but all in all, I think the edge does go to Carolina. Injury-wise, on the Carolina side, it's Andrei Svechnikov, which has been injured. This is going to be a big blow to their team, as he was the leading scorer and a big points production man. Andre Kasha, bottom 6 person, is also injured. And for New York, Romanov and Wallstrom are not available. And that's it for the matchup, I guess. I'm picking Carolina to win this in 6. If they had Svechnikov, I'd pick them to win it in 5, but I guess they don't, so maybe I'll take just an extra game to win this, and the Islanders can get 2 wins. Alright, so Hurricanes move on. So these are my 4 predictions thus far for the first 4 games of these first round playoffs. Dallas will come out. Then there'll be Edmonton Oilers, Boston Bruins, and the Carolina Hurricanes. So please stay tuned to my episode tomorrow for the other 4 matchups and my bracket predictions. Thank you for your time, and please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing my video if you liked it. Thank you.